At level 7 of this video, there is a society that has never confirmed its own name, never published its membership list, and has nonetheless produced 3 U.S. presidents, multiple CIA directors, and the founders of some of the most powerful financial institutions in the world. I'll tell you exactly which one and what it actually does at the end. First, the level where most people think secret societies live. 7 levels. Let's get into it. Level 1, the campus society. Every elite university has them. The final clubs at Harvard, the eating clubs at Princeton, the secret societies at Yale. The outer ring is where the mythology begins and where the actual power is the weakest. At this level, the secret is primarily social, a locked door, a ritual, a membership that confers status within the campus hierarchy and absolutely nothing guaranteed beyond it. These societies produce senators and occasionally presidents, but they produce far more alumni who spent 4 years feeling special and then became comfortable middle managers who still mention the society at dinner parties 30 years later. But level 1 societies are visible. They have buildings. Their members are sometimes named. From here, the societies become progressively harder to find, even though their influence becomes progressively more real. Level 2. The Professional Brotherhood. $500 to $5,000 per year. Rotary International. The Freemasons. The Knights of Columbus. The societies at level 2 are not secret in any meaningful sense. They have websites, they hold public events, they list their members, but they operate on a logic that the outside world consistently underestimates. The Professional Brotherhood is the first level where the society creates genuine economic value for its members, not through secrecy, but through trust architecture. When 2 Freemasons meet as strangers in a business context, there is a presumption of shared values, verified conduct, and mutual accountability that does not exist between 2 random professionals. That presumption has commercial value. It reduces transaction costs. It substitutes for due diligence. Freemasonry at its peak in the 19th century was not a secret cabal controlling world events. It was a professional credentialing system for men who could not otherwise establish their trustworthiness quickly in an era before credit scores, professional licenses, and background checks. The handshake was not a password into a conspiracy. It was a shortcut through a trust problem that took months to solve any other way. Level 3, the Ritual Brotherhood. At level 3, the ritual becomes the point. And the ritual is stranger than most people realize. Skull and Bones at Yale was founded in 1832. It selects 15 juniors per year. For almost its entire history until 1971, it published an annual membership roster, a document that is now held in Yale's library and which anyone can access. Until 1992, it did not admit women. In 2004, both the Republican and Democratic nominees for the presidency of the United States were Skull and Bones members. When asked what he could say about this, John Kerry replied, "Not much, because it's a secret." When George W. Bush was asked, he said, "So secret, I can't say anything more." Both men were running against each other for the most powerful office on earth and refused to discuss the society they shared membership in. No journalist pressed either of them on this with any real force. The initiation reportedly involves lying in a coffin and narrating your complete sexual history to the assembled membership. This is either a bonding ritual that creates genuine intimacy and mutual vulnerability among people who will run the country, or it is a hazing exercise that has been assigned mythological significance. Probably both. Level 4. The invitation-only gathering. At level 4, the society stops having a fixed location and becomes an annual event. The Bohemian Grove is 2,700 acres of private redwood forest in Northern California. Every summer for 2 weeks, a membership of approximately 2,500 men, drawn from the upper levels of American political, financial, and corporate life, gathers for what is described as a retreat. There are theatrical performances, orchestral concerts, and informal talks given by members under rules of confidentiality. No women, no press, no recording devices. What is known about what happens there comes from investigative journalism and memoirs. Richard Nixon, in a 1971 tape, described the Grove as the most faggy goddamn thing you've ever seen, which is a sentence that raises questions about what specifically he witnessed. Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford reportedly agreed there in 1967 that Reagan would run for president and Ford would not. If true, this is a conversation about the American presidency that took place in a forest between two men who were not yet president, with no record, no witnesses beyond those present, and no accountability. Here is the thread running through every level. Every society on this list provides the same thing at a different concentration, a mechanism for powerful people to interact without external accountability. Level 1 does it on a campus. Level 2 does it through a ritual trust signal. Level 3 does it through shared vulnerability. Level 4 does it through a location that is physically inaccessible to the press. Level 5. The Annual Forum. The World Economic Forum at Davos is not secret. Its annual meeting is attended by journalists and photographed extensively, but it operates at level 5 because what happens at Davos is not what appears to happen at Davos. The public agenda, the panels on climate, on inequality, on technology, is the visible architecture that justifies the gathering. The actual meetings happen in private rooms adjacent to the public events, bilateral conversations between heads of state and CEOs that would require months of diplomatic scheduling to arrange any other way. A central bank governor and a hedge fund manager who cannot be seen to coordinate their positions publicly can have a conversation at Davos that will never be documented because the rules of the gathering make that conversation deniable. Level 6. The Unlisted Meeting. At Level 6, the society has no name and the meeting has no location until the guests are already traveling to it. The Bilderberg Meeting began in 1954 at the Hotel de Bilderberg in Oosterbeek, Netherlands. It has met annually since then, approximately 130 to 150 participants by invitation only, drawn from European and North American political leadership, finance, academia, and media. No minutes are published. No communique is issued. The attendee list is published after the meeting ends. No journalists attend. No recording devices are permitted. What is verifiably documented about Bilderberg's history? Participants have included virtually every NATO leader of consequence since 1954. The creation of the European Common Market was reportedly discussed at early meetings before it became public policy. The selection of candidates for major European political positions has reportedly been a recurring agenda item, though this is disputed by participants. Level 7. The Inversion. And the answer. At the very top of this hierarchy is the society I mentioned at the start, the one that has never confirmed its own name, the one whose members, when asked, say only that it is a secret. Skull and Bones, which appeared at Level 3, is not Level 7. It has a name. Its tomb has an address. Its membership history is documented in Yale's library until 1971. The society at Level 7 is something different. It is sometimes called the Council on Foreign Relations, which is publicly listed and has a documented membership. It is sometimes called something else, a name that appears in investigative journalism, and which the referenced organization declines to confirm or deny. It is described by its alleged participants as a study group. It is described by investigators as the most consequential informal policy network in the post-war world. The secrecy was never about who was in the room. It was about what the room decided, and why, and whether the people affected by those decisions would ever be able to evaluate them accurately. They cannot, by design. The campus society and the unnamed gathering at level 7 are separated by money, access, age, and consequence. But they are powered by the same mechanism, a room that is only as valuable as the quality of the people inside it, and a door whose value is entirely a function of how difficult it is to open. The secrecy was never the point. The network was the point. The secrecy was what kept the network worth being in. I break down how these things actually work, not how the brochure describes them. See you in the next one.